Life can seem like it's going really smoothly for a while, and then it can just all fall apart. Maybe there isn't necessarily anything bad happening to you, but you just feel confused. Almost like you're living life on autopilot, though that doesn't capture the whole picture. The things that you've been doing aren't bringing you the same joy or results that they did previously. Or you stopped doing those things and you don't know why. You had a system in your life and then that system suddenly failed. Or maybe it's that you know that you're meant for more, but you can't seem to take action. You become a victim of whatever you think it is standing in your way, and then you distract yourself with modern addictions. Now, most people will have the perspective that they're doing something wrong, or they adopt a sense of helplessness, as if there's nothing they can do to change things for good. When these negative thoughts creep in, they bring emotions that make you feel bad about yourself. You do the bad habits even though you don't want to, and you also may end up procrastinating the things that you should be doing. And a part of you knows what you should do, but everything feels pointless anyways. Now, most of you may have already seen this piece of artwork by Sun Yuan and Peng Yu called Can't Help Myself. It's an allegorical piece of artwork where this robot arm is given the task of keeping the leaking red hydraulic fluid within a certain perimeter. The fluid never stops spreading, leading to a never-ending cycle for the robot. And to top it off, the fluid looks like blood, so it kind of has this eerie feeling. And there are tons of speculations about what it is supposed to represent, and I think most people will view it from the perspective of the actual name, Can't Help Myself, as if no matter what you do, your efforts will be wasted in the end. And this is originally what I thought too. The routine that I had been following for months fell apart. I had too much work and not enough time for self-care or learning. I felt lost, drained, and a little bit sad too. I tried to ignore the feeling, but as I did, I found myself making bad decisions that I normally wouldn't, which nearly led to a big mistake. I also stopped doing the good habits, using lack of time as my reasoning. Let's go back to that robot from earlier. What if we could view it from a different perspective, from the lens of entropy? Some of you may recognize the word entropy from your chemistry class, but it has a meaning outside of thermodynamics. Entropy is a measure of disorder and it affects all aspects of our daily lives. Some call it nature's tax. If you don't control entropy, it will increase over time. Energy disperses and systems dissolve into chaos, similar to Murphy's Law in a way. Psychic entropy, according to Mihai Csikszentmihalyi, is disorder of the mind. Whenever information disrupts consciousness by threatening its goals, we have a condition of inner disorder, or psychic entropy, a disorganization of the self that impairs its effectiveness. Prolonged experiences of this can weaken the self to the point that it is no longer able to invest intention and pursue its goals. And he says disorganization of the self. The self is just our identity, or you could just describe it as your egoic mind. It's who you think you are. It's your programming. This influences everything from your thoughts and emotions to the actions that you take. And this self is what brings you a sense of peace in your life. Whatever you identify as makes up the self, even if that identity is something that is objectively bad. And you will feel threatened if someone tries to take that sense of self away from you. Let's look at mental illness, for example. After getting through all of my own mental health problems, I noticed a few things about people who suffer from it. One, it's part of who they are and their actions reflect someone who is suffering, but they seem okay with it. When you're in a negative vibration with anything, anger, depression, self-pity, those emotions will take over your thoughts. Eventually, you'll identify with them. By identifying with the pain, you're feeding more energy to it, and it can be almost impossible to feel anything else for an extended period of time. This is what happens when you revolve your identity and personality around pain. And I'm not saying that you aren't allowed to feel pain. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that you shouldn't be constantly carrying around negative energy from something that you have no control over, something that doesn't exist. The past. No matter how much I virtue signal, the way I'm speaking right now is going to offend some people. This is because it's part of their identity to constantly be in pain. In a way, it brings them peace. And this is also why people like to listen to sad music when they're sad. This is essentially the victim mindset. You feel like all of your efforts are worthless and there's no point in trying. You adopt the mentality of a survivor and then you carry that with you wherever you go. And then when people like me try to take that pain away from you, you resist. When people like me try to take that pain away from you, you resist. 2, they glorify mental illness. So I watched a video by a YouTuber named Jeez Louise who brought to my attention that people should stop joking about their mental illness and their trauma. And it makes so much sense because this is such a prevalent problem that I see every day. How many of you use jokes as a coping mechanism for for your mental health problems. How many of those core videos have you watched? How much sad music do you have in your playlist? Not even gonna lie, I actually got into like that like core thing for a little while. Like some of them like popped up on my YouTube page one time, and I was like, what is this? And I started watching them, and then I would listen to them in the gym, and I'm just like, wait a minute, this is like some victim mindset stuff. Like I don't want to listen to this anymore. Like this is just sad. This is just making me more sad. I feel like myself a year ago probably would have just loved that, you know, but it's actually not good to wallow in that negativity. I know like it can feel comforting, but it's not like that's not healing. It's just you resisting change, opting for comfort in these hardships that make you who you are, the self, who you think you are. You're reliving that experience over and over, and it gives you peace because it's familiar. So I'm going to tell you what you should do if you're in this kind of like lost state where you don't know what to do and you're kind of feeling like life is on autopilot. The very first step is that you need to disappear. You need to eliminate all distractions. If you scatter your attention, psychic energy, you can't gain understanding of your current situation. So pull back from all the instantly gratifying activities and the internet if possible, and take a break from people if you need to. This is why I've been gone for 2 weeks. You may need to do a complete dopamine detox for a few weeks to level your mind and come at this from a state of clarity, especially if indulging in cheap pleasures is what got you into this situation in the first place. Your attention is your trump card in this game of life if used wisely, but your mind can only process so much information at a time. Even if you're consuming good content that is conducive to your goals, you may not actually be taking action on those things. It's comfortable to sit and fantasize about your ideal self, but it's uncomfortable to actually go out and do those things or take the first step. You'll end up building the identity of someone who knows what they should do but doesn't take action, making you feel bad that you aren't making progress. So you're moving up the level of awareness, but you're not taking action. And this is the reason why we feel so bad when we see someone doing better than us, for example. It's like we've raised our expectations, and then when your expectations are higher because you want this thing, but then when you're not actually taking action, then you feel bad about yourself, versus previously, if you didn't see that person, then you would have been okay here. Essentially, you're aware that there's a problem in your life, but you're not aware of how to fix the problem. The real clarity comes when you hear something that is beneficial for you, and right away, you take action on it, like the steps I'm giving you right now. So, after you've pulled back, you need to do a retrospective analysis. Pull out a journal. You should seriously do this with a journal, because you're going to be able to get your thoughts on paper, and they're not going to be so jumbled inside of your head. And I'm giving you action steps that I actually took. So pull out a journal, and here you'll pinpoint everything that is going wrong in your life right now. This is the problem or the problems. An easy way to do this if you don't know what to write is to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? And why do I think I feel this way? When I did this, it helped me identify the emotions that I was feeling at that moment and helped me retrace my steps to find out the source of the problem. If you think far back enough, you'll take note of that underlying problem that caused your life to fall out of control in the first place. Maybe your routine just isn't working anymore and you need a refresh. Maybe you don't have a routine. For me, I worked way too much over December, and I didn't take care of myself. I wasn't even properly eating. I've actually lost weight. I lost 5 pounds. So after a while, I started to experience symptoms of burnout. I fell into bad habits and I made bad decisions. Those were the problems, and me overworking was a source of it. So write down everything that is currently happening. Everything that comes into your mind. Doesn't matter how simple you think it is. If you think that it's affecting you negatively in any way, get that out and onto paper, because from there we're going to make the comeback. Once you know what's going on, you can develop a plan. So take a look at everything that's going on separately and write out every action that you need to take to get things back in order. For me, it was to get my finances in order and then also remove myself from the internet, hence why I've been gone for weeks. I also stopped checking YouTube Studio, stopped checking email, and just kind of pulled off from the internet. The views in the comments were affecting my mental health, but I will talk about that another time. And lastly, I started eating 3 meals a day, even if it was at the expense of the quality of the work, since I found that I worked better fasted. I also practiced self-care and engaged in deep, restful activities like long walks and meditation. Though I did work, I didn't have all these distractions pulling me away, and I prioritized self-care over the work. So for you, it might be similar things that demand time, which is why I recommended the detox. As I wrote this, I was still in the phase of getting my life back together. And I gave myself another week to get some deep work done without spending too much time online and posting content or anything like that. And I'm also experimenting and developing a new system to get what I need to do in a day done without working all day. And right now, I'm feeling amazing. I have clarity for the new year, drive to go after my goals, and I'm living purposefully. And I've also made the decision to start a second channel following something that I've been wanting to do and I've been passionate about for a very long time: tech and lifestyle. I've always wanted to make videos about tech and just like cinematic storytelling videos too since I was a little kid. I looked up to people like Marcus Brownlee, Raymond Warner, Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, Seth's Bike Hacks, so many other people. I've always been impressed by their camera work, and it's always something I wanted to do. So I used to try to do stuff like that on my like the GoPros that I had and in like my old phones and stuff. So this year, that's something that I'm actually going to try out and use the skills that I've developed thus far on my channel. In my case, I had grown accustomed to working 4 hours a day for a while, and that was the baseline. But in December, I was working closer to 8 hours of deep work. Not like the typical 9 to 5 shallow work days where you get about a good 2 hours of work done and then the rest is just distracted and low quality. I'm talking about deep work with lever moving tasks that drain your psychic energy. One of the heaviest being coaching calls. Those are so draining. They're great, but they're draining. I hit a new high in income, but that way of working is just not sustainable. I'm not Alex Hormozi, so I need to develop a way to get more done in less time. In the past few days, I've systemized a way to get all the important things done in about 5 hours or less. And this was after eliminating the things that were sucking up my time. You don't have to live your life like that robot. You can help yourself. It will take constant effort and accountability for a while. Recognize and confront the areas of your life that may be causing you stress or dissatisfaction. As you gain clarity through that retrospective analysis, you will control your psychic energy. Look beyond your current situation and don't get stuck in the emotional thought patterns that it brings you. Use that psychic energy to order your mind and your life. It's one of the fundamentals of living purposefully, and you're in this for the long game. It won't be the last time that things fall apart. That's what entropy is. But staying resilient and taking action on what you can do right now will leave you better equipped to handle things in the future. So that is all for today. Please make sure to check out 14 Days to Purpose to build a daily journaling habit and gain direction in life through questions you've never asked yourself. Enjoy your week. See ya.